The greatest challenge in life is not proving yourself to others. It is proving yourself to yourself. Think about that for a moment. Most people spend their lives trying to impress others, trying to gain approval, trying to be accepted, trying to look successful. But deep down, they are not at peace with themselves because they know something. They know the truth. They know they are capable of more discipline, more focus, more growth. But every day, they ignore that inner voice, and slowly, they lose confidence, not because they failed, but because they stopped trusting themselves. Confidence doesn't come from words. It comes from keeping promises to yourself. Let me ask you something. How many promises have you made to yourself? I'll wake up earlier. I'll work harder. I'll stay consistent. I'll change my life. And how many times did you quit after a few days? That's where self-doubt begins. Not when others doubt you, but when you doubt yourself. Because every time you say you'll do something and don't do it, you weaken your self-respect. But every time you follow through, even in small ways, you build something powerful. Trust in yourself. And that changes everything. Because once you trust yourself, you stop needing constant validation. You stop chasing approval. You stop comparing your journey to others. Now you are driven by something deeper. Your own standards, your own discipline, your own growth. Success is not to be pursued. It is to be attracted by the person you become. We are not talking about proving the world wrong. We are talking about proving yourself right. Proving that you can stay disciplined. Proving that you can finish what you start. Proving that you can become stronger than your excuses. Because at the end of the day, the most important opinion is the one you have about yourself. And the truth is simple. When you prove yourself to yourself, no one can take your confidence away. The most important opinion is the opinion you have about yourself. Let's begin with a simple truth. A truth most people overlook. You can fool the world, but you cannot fool yourself. You can smile in public. You can look confident. You can pretend everything is fine. But deep down, you know whether you are disciplined. You know whether you are growing. You know whether you are giving your best. And that inner knowing shapes your confidence. Not praise, not applause, not validation from others. Real confidence comes from self-respect. And self-respect is built when you prove yourself to yourself. Confidence is not something you get. It is something you build. Now let me ask you something. How many times have you said, I'm going to change. I'll wake up early. I'll work harder. I'll stay focused. I'll become disciplined. And for a few days, you did well. But then you stopped. And every time you stop, something happens internally. Your mind begins to doubt you. Not because you failed, but because you stopped trusting your own word. Think about that. If someone constantly broke promises to you, would you trust them? Probably not. Then why should your mind trust you? If you constantly break promises to yourself, that is where self-doubt begins. Not from failure, but from inconsistency. Success is nothing more than a few simple disciplines, practiced every day, daily, not occasionally. Because every time you follow through, even in small ways, you send a message to yourself. I can trust myself. I do what I say. I finish what I start. And slowly, that builds confidence. Real confidence. Not loud confidence. Not fake confidence. Quiet confidence. The kind that doesn't need approval, because it comes from within. Now understand this. Most people are trying to prove themselves to others. They want recognition, attention, validation, but they ignore the most important person, themselves. And that creates emptiness. Because even if the world praises you, if you don't respect yourself, it will never feel enough. Work harder on yourself than you do on your job. That's where the real work begins. Not in impressing people, but in improving yourself. Waking up when you said you would. Doing the work when you don't feel like it. Staying disciplined when nobody is watching. That is how character is built. And character is more valuable than image. Because image is what people think you are. Character is who you really are. Now let's go deeper. Why is proving yourself to yourself so powerful? Because once you build self-trust, everything changes. You stop depending on motivation. You stop waiting for encouragement. You stop needing constant reassurance. Why? Because you've already seen yourself overcome difficulty. You've already proven that you can stay committed, and that creates inner strength. The few things you do every day determine the quality of your life. So don't underestimate small victories. Getting up early, keeping your word, finishing your task, staying focused. Those small actions build a strong identity. And identity shapes destiny. Because eventually, you become the kind of person who does what they say they will do. That's powerful. Stop trying to impress everyone. Stop chasing approval. Stop measuring your worth by other people's opinions. Instead, focus on this question. Can I trust myself? Can you trust yourself to stay disciplined? Can you trust yourself to keep going? Can you trust yourself to follow through? Because when the answer becomes yes, your confidence changes. Your mindset changes. Your life changes. So prove yourself to yourself first. Not with words, not with promises, but with actions. Daily actions. Consistent actions. Disciplined actions. Because in the end, the strongest confidence comes from knowing you can count on yourself. Confidence is built when you do what you said you would do. Let's talk about promises. Not the promises you make to others, the promises you make to yourself. Because those promises shape your identity. Every time you say, I'll wake up early, I'll stay disciplined, I'll work on my goals, I'll change my life, your mind is listening. And every time you follow through, you build trust with yourself. But every time you quit, delay, or make excuses, you weaken that trust. That is why so many people struggle with confidence. Not because they are incapable, but because they stop believing their own word. Think about it. If someone lied to you every day, would you trust them? No. Then why should your mind trust you? If you constantly break your own promises, discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishment. That bridge is built one promise at a time. Small promises. Simple promises. Wake up when you said you would. Finish what you started. Do the work you plan to do. Simple, but powerful. Because every small action says something. It says, I am serious. I am committed. I can depend on myself. And slowly, that changes the way you see yourself. Now let's be honest. Most people don't fail in one big moment. They fail quietly by breaking small promises daily. I'll start tomorrow. I'll do it later. One more day won't hurt. And little by little, their discipline disappears. Their confidence fades. Their self-respect weakens. Not because life defeated them, but because inconsistency defeated them. Success is nothing more than a few simple disciplines practiced every day. Daily discipline. That's the secret. Not motivation. Motivation comes and goes. Some days you feel inspired. Some days you don't. But discipline stays. A disciplined person does the work, even when they don't feel like it. That is power. Now understand this carefully. Keeping promises to yourself is not about perfection. You will make mistakes. You will have hard days. You will fall short sometimes. But the key is this. Return quickly. Don't stay down. Don't disappear for weeks. Don't give up because of one bad day. Strong people are not perfect people. They are consistent people. They keep coming back again and again. Failure is not the end unless you stop. Now let me ask you something. What is one promise you've been breaking with yourself Maybe it's your health. Maybe it's your focus. Maybe it's your goals. Deep down, you already know. And every day you ignore it, your mind notices. But the good news is this: you can rebuild trust. Starting today. Starting small. Not with huge goals. Not with dramatic changes. Just one promise. And keep it. Maybe it's waking up 30 minutes earlier. Maybe it's reading 10 pages a day. Maybe it's working on your dream for 1 hour. Small actions. Repeated daily. That is how self-belief is built. Because confidence is not magic. It is evidence. Evidence that you can trust yourself. Evidence that you can stay committed. Evidence that you can finish what you start. And once you build that, something powerful happens. You stop doubting yourself. You stop needing constant motivation. You stop waiting for someone else to push you, because now you trust your own discipline. The major key to your better future is you. So protect your word, especially the word you give yourself, because every promise you keep builds strength, builds character, builds confidence. And in the end, your life will reflect one thing: whether you trusted yourself enough to do what you said you would do. Your biggest challenge is not what's happening around you. It's what's happening within you. There is a battle happening every day, a silent battle, not between you and other people, but between two versions of yourself. One version wants growth. The other wants comfort. One version wants discipline. The other wants excuses. And whichever one you feed becomes stronger. Let's be honest. Excuses are dangerous, not because they sound bad, but because they sound reasonable. I'm too tired. I'll start tomorrow. I'm not ready yet. Small excuses, but repeated daily, they become habits, and habits shape your life. Excuses are the nails used to build a house of failure. Now let's talk about self-doubt, because self-doubt grows every time you avoid action. The more you delay, the more uncertain you become, the more you quit, the less you trust yourself. And eventually, you begin to question your own ability, not because you can't succeed, but because you stop trying consistently. That's the battle within. A part of you says, you can do more. Another part says, stay comfortable. And every day, you must decide which voice wins. Successful people are not fearless people. They simply refuse to obey fear. They act anyway. They move anyway. They continue anyway. Discipline is doing what must be done even when you don't feel like it. That is how you defeat excuses. Not by waiting to feel motivated, but by taking action despite resistance. Because action destroys doubt. The moment you start, your mind changes. The moment you push forward, your confidence grows. Even small progress matters. One disciplined day builds momentum. One completed task builds trust. One brave decision builds strength. And slowly, the version of you that wants growth becomes stronger. Now understand this. You will never completely escape the inner battle. There will always be moments of doubt, moments of fear, moments when excuses sound attractive. But mentally strong people know something important. They don't negotiate with excuses. They act. Success is not magic. It is daily discipline. So the next time your mind says, maybe later, pause and ask yourself, is this an excuse or a reason? Because your future depends on that answer. Don't let temporary feelings control permanent decisions. Don't let fear decide your future. Don't let excuses steal your potential. You are stronger than your comfort, stronger than your doubt, stronger than your excuses. But you must prove it through action. Because the greatest victory is not over other people. It is over yourself. Talk is cheap, but results tell the truth. Let's be clear, very clear. You don't build belief by thinking. You build belief by doing, and then seeing the result of what you did. That is how confidence is created, not through motivation, not through words, but through action. Most people wait. They wait to feel ready. They wait to feel confident. They wait for the perfect moment. But confidence does not come before action. It comes after it. You act, you see progress, and then you believe. That is the order of life. Success is nothing more than a few simple disciplines practiced every day. Now think about your own life. How many times have you doubted yourself? Before even trying? I don't think I can do it. I'm not good enough. I might fail. But how do you know if you haven't acted yet? Because doubt grows in silence. But action destroys doubt. The moment you start, even imperfectly, something changes inside you. You stop imagining failure and start experiencing progress. Even small progress matters. One completed task, one disciplined morning, one focused hour. It may not look big, but it builds something powerful. Evidence. Evidence that you can act. Evidence that you can improve. Evidence that you can trust yourself. And that evidence becomes belief. Discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishment. You don't cross that bridge by thinking. You cross it by walking, step by step, action by action. Now let's be honest. Most people want belief first, then action. But life does not work that way. You must act first, then belief follows. That is the order. That is the truth. Look at anyone successful. They did not start confident. They became confident through action, through repetition, through results. And so can you, but only if you stop waiting, stop overthinking, stop hesitating, and start doing. Because every time you act, you send a message to your mind. I can do this. And every time you repeat it, that message becomes stronger until one day you no longer doubt yourself. You simply act. That is the power of discipline. Now understand this deeply. Your life is currently a reflection of past actions, not future dreams, not intentions, past actions. So if you want a different life, you must take different action. What you do every day determines who you become. There is no shortcut, no trick, no secret, just action. Consistent action, focused action, disciplined action. And over time, those actions produce results. And results produce belief. So stop waiting to feel ready. Stop waiting to feel confident. Stop waiting for permission. Start proving it. Through action, through effort, through discipline. Because in the end, the world does not reward intention. It rewards execution. And when you execute, you don't need to convince yourself anymore. Your results will do it for you. The ultimate reward of discipline is self-respect. Let's bring it all together now. Because this is the real goal. Not just success, not just results, not just achievement, but becoming someone you are proud of. Think about that. Really think about it. At the end of the day, when everything becomes quiet, when no one is watching, when you are alone with your thoughts, what do you feel about yourself? That feeling, that quiet voice inside you, that is your real life. Not what people see, but what you know. And that is why this journey matters. Because every small decision is shaping the person you are becoming. Every time you choose discipline over comfort, every time you choose effort over excuses, every time you choose action over delay, you are building identity. Success is not something you pursue. It is something you attract by becoming the right person. Now listen carefully. Most people focus on results, but results are temporary. What matters more is character. Are you disciplined when no one is watching? Are you honest with yourself? Do you keep going when it gets hard? Because that is who you really are. Not the image, not the words, but the actions. And slowly, those actions shape your identity. A strong identity does not need validation. It does not depend on approval. It stands on its own. It says, I know who I am. I know what I stand for. I know what I am building. That is powerful. Now, let's be honest. Becoming someone you're proud of is not easy. It requires discipline. It requires sacrifice. It requires letting go of comfort. But what you gain is worth it. Self-respect, confidence, peace of mind, the feeling that you are moving in the right direction. Discipline is choosing between what you want now and what you want most. And every day, you make that choice. Do I stay comfortable or do I grow? Do I quit or do I continue? Do I delay or do I act? Those choices shape everything. And over time, you become the result of those choices. Now imagine something powerful. Imagine looking in the mirror and respecting the person you see, not because you are perfect, but because you are trying, because you are disciplined, because you are consistent. That is real success. Not applause from others, but approval from yourself. So let me leave you with this. Do not chase a life that looks good to others, but feels empty to you. Build a life you can stand behind, a life you can respect, a life you can be proud of. Because in the end, the most important person you must impress is yourself. And when you become that person, something powerful happens. You stop doubting. You stop pretending. You stop settling. And you start living with purpose. So keep going. Keep growing. Keep becoming. Because the real victory is not in what you achieve, but in who you become. Become someone you're proud of, and everything else will follow. Don't just chase success. Become the person who deserves it. Take everything you've heard and bring it into your life. Not tomorrow, not someday, but today, because in the end, it was never about motivation. It was always about discipline, about keeping your promises, about taking action, about proving it to yourself. So remember this. You don't need more time. You need more consistency. And when you master that, everything changes. Become someone you're proud of, and success will follow you.
I want to share with you 10 things, 10 powerful declarations that you must tell yourself every morning. Not suggestions, mind you, but absolute requirements if you're serious about designing a life that matters. These aren't just feel-good phrases or positive thinking platitudes. These are the fundamental truths that when embraced and internalized will transform not just your mornings, but your entire existence. The first thing you must tell yourself every morning is this: today I am in complete control of my response to everything that happens to me. Now let me be clear about something. I'm not saying you're in control of everything that happens to you. Life has a way of throwing curveballs, and some of them come at you fast and hard. You can't control the weather, you can't control the economy, you can't control what other people say or do. But here's what you absolutely can control, and this is where your power lies. You can control your response to everything. You see, between every stimulus and response, there's a space. In that space lies your freedom, your power to choose. Most people react automatically. Something happens and boom, they respond based on emotion, based on conditioning, based on habit. But successful people have learned to pause in that space and ask themselves, how do I want to respond to this? What response will serve me best? What response will move me closer to my goals rather than further away from them? When you wake up and declare to yourself that you are in complete control of your response, you're taking ownership of your life. You're saying that regardless of what the day brings, you're going to choose your attitude, you're going to choose your actions, you're going to choose your words. You're refusing to be a victim of circumstances and instead choosing to be the architect of your experience. This leads us naturally to the second thing you must tell yourself every morning: I am responsible for my own life and happiness. Responsibility is not a burden, it's a privilege. It's the price of admission to the club of people who actually get to design their own destiny. When you truly accept responsibility for your life, something magical happens. You stop blaming. You stop making excuses. You stop waiting for someone else to come along and fix your problems or make you happy. Most people spend their lives in a state of blame. They blame their parents for how they were raised. They blame their spouse for their marital problems. They blame their boss for their career struggles. They blame the government for their financial situation. They blame the weather for their mood. And while they're busy pointing fingers at everyone and everything else, their life is slipping away day by day, moment by moment. But when you wake up and tell yourself, I am responsible for my own life and happiness, you're making a powerful declaration. You're saying that if something isn't working in your life, you're going to change it. If you're not happy, you're going to do something about it. If you're not where you want to be, you're going to chart a course to get there. You're taking the wheel of your life instead of being a passenger hoping someone else will drive you to where you want to go. Now, let me tell you the third thing you must declare to yourself every morning. My past does not define my future. This one is crucial because so many people are prisoners of their own history. They look at their past failures, their past mistakes, their past limitations, and they use them as evidence for why they can't succeed in the future. They say things like, I've never been good with money, or I'm not a morning person, or success just isn't in my DNA. But here's what I want you to understand. Your past is not your future unless you live there. Your biography is not your destiny unless you make it so. Every single day you have the opportunity to begin again, to write a new chapter, to become a new version of yourself. The person you were yesterday, with all their limitations and failures, doesn't have to be the person you are today. When you tell yourself that your past does not define your future, you're giving yourself permission to grow, to change, to become more than you've ever been before. You're refusing to be limited by old patterns, old beliefs, old results. You're opening yourself up to new possibilities, new opportunities, new versions of who you can become. This connects directly to the fourth morning declaration, I am constantly growing and improving. Growth is not automatic. Just because you get older doesn't mean you get better. Just because time passes doesn't mean you're making progress. Growth requires intentionality. It requires a commitment to becoming more today than you were yesterday. When you wake up with the mindset that you are constantly growing and improving, you approach every experience as a learning opportunity. Mistakes become lessons. Challenges become training grounds. Setbacks become setups for comebacks. You stop seeing yourself as a finished product and start seeing yourself as a work in progress, always evolving, always developing, always expanding your capabilities. This growth mindset changes everything. Instead of avoiding challenges because you might fail, you welcome them because you know they'll help you grow. Instead of being threatened by the success of others, you're inspired by it because you know that if they can do it, you can learn to do it too. Instead of settling for where you are, you're always pushing toward where you could be. The fifth thing you must tell yourself every morning builds on this foundation. I attract opportunities by being prepared and staying alert. Opportunity doesn't knock on doors randomly. It seeks out those who are prepared to recognize it and act on it. Most people complain that they never get any breaks, but the truth is breaks are coming their way all the time. They just don't see them because they're not prepared, they're not looking, they're not positioned to take advantage. When you declare that you attract opportunities by being prepared and staying alert, you're committing to a lifestyle of readiness. You're saying that you're going to develop the skills, knowledge, and mindset necessary to recognize and seize the chances that come your way. You're going to stay curious, stay learning, stay growing so that when opportunity presents itself, you're ready. Preparation is what turns opportunity into success. Luck is where preparation meets opportunity. But most people want to skip the preparation part. They want the opportunity without the investment, the harvest without the planting, the reward without the work. But that's not how success works. Success requires that you prepare yourself in advance of your opportunities. This preparation mindset leads us to the sixth morning declaration, my education and personal development are my highest priorities. In a rapidly changing world, your ability to learn and adapt is your greatest asset. The skills that got you where you are today won't be sufficient to take you where you want to go tomorrow. The knowledge you have now will become obsolete if you don't continue to update and upgrade it. When you make education and personal development your highest priorities, you're investing in the one asset that can never be taken away from you, your mind. You can lose your job, you can lose your money, you can lose your possessions, but no one can take away what you know and who you've become. Your education, your skills, your personal development, these are the things that make you valuable, that make you indispensable, that make you successful. But here's what most people don't understand. Education doesn't stop when you leave school. In fact, that's when your real education begins. The most successful people I know are lifelong learners. They read voraciously, they attend seminars, they seek out mentors, they invest in their personal development like their life depends on it, because it does. The seventh thing you must tell yourself every morning is, I choose to focus on solutions, not problems. This is a game changer because most people are problem focused instead of solution focused. They spend their energy and attention on what's wrong instead of on what could be right. They talk about their problems, they think about their problems, they worry about their problems, and guess what? Their problems grow. But when you choose to focus on solutions, something remarkable happens. Your mind becomes a solution-finding machine. Instead of being overwhelmed by challenges, you become energized by possibilities. Instead of being paralyzed by obstacles, you become motivated by opportunities to overcome them. Solution-focused people don't ignore problems, but they don't dwell on them either. They acknowledge the problem just long enough to understand it, and then they immediately shift their focus to finding ways to solve it. They ask different questions. Instead of why is this happening to me, they ask how can I turn this around? Instead of what's wrong here, they ask what needs to be done. This solution focus is what separates leaders from followers, entrepreneurs from employees, winners from whiners. When others see problems, solution-focused people see opportunities. When others see obstacles, they see challenges to overcome. When others see reasons to quit, they see reasons to get creative. The 8th morning declaration flows naturally from this: I am building something meaningful with my life. This is about purpose, about legacy, about making your life count for something more than just personal pleasure or comfort. When you wake up each morning with the conviction that you're building something meaningful, you're connecting your daily actions to a larger purpose. Most people drift through life without any real sense of purpose. They go through the motions, they do what's expected, they follow the crowd, but they're not building anything significant. They're not creating anything lasting. They're not making a meaningful contribution. And at the end of their lives, they look back with regret, wondering what might have been if they had lived more intentionally. But when you tell yourself that you're building something meaningful, every day becomes important. Every decision matters. Every action is either building toward your purpose or tearing away from it. You stop wasting time on trivial pursuits and start investing your energy in activities that align with your values and contribute to your larger mission. Building something meaningful doesn't necessarily mean you have to change the world, although you might. It means that your life has direction, that your efforts are focused, that you're working towards something that matters to you and potentially to others. It means you're living intentionally rather than accidentally. The 9th thing you must declare to yourself every morning is, I am grateful for what I have while working for what I want. Gratitude is the foundation of all abundance. When you're grateful for what you have, you're in a position to receive more. When you're ungrateful, when you focus on what you lack, you actually repel the very things you're trying to attract. But gratitude alone isn't enough. Some people use gratitude as an excuse for complacency. They're grateful for what they have, which is good, but they stop striving for more, which is limiting. The key is to be grateful for where you are while working toward where you want to be. It's about appreciating the journey while staying focused on the destination. When you combine gratitude with ambition, you create a powerful dynamic. You're content but not complacent. You're satisfied but not settled. You appreciate what you have while still working to expand and improve your circumstances. This balance keeps you positive and motivated at the same time. Gratitude also shifts your focus from what you lack to what you possess. Most people wake up thinking about what they don't have, what they need, what's missing from their lives. But grateful people wake up thinking about their blessings, their opportunities, their advantages. This positive focus creates positive energy, which attracts positive results. Now we come to the 10th and final thing you must tell yourself every morning. Today is an opportunity to become the person I'm meant to be. This is the culmination of all the previous declarations because it's about identity, about becoming, about the ongoing process of transforming into your best self. Most people think of personal development as something you do, but it's really about something you become. It's not just about acquiring new skills or knowledge, although those are important. It's about evolving into a better version of yourself day by day, choice by choice, moment by moment. When you wake up with the understanding that today is an opportunity to become the person you're meant to be, you approach the day with intentionality. You ask yourself, what kind of person do I want to be today? How do I want to show up? What character qualities do I want to demonstrate? What legacy do I want to build with today's choices? This perspective transforms ordinary moments into opportunities for growth. A difficult conversation becomes a chance to practice patience and understanding. A challenging project becomes an opportunity to develop persistence and problem-solving skills. A setback becomes a test of your resilience and character. The person you're meant to be isn't some distant, unattainable ideal. It's the person you can choose to be right now, today, in this moment. Every day you have the opportunity to close the gap between who you are and who you're capable of becoming. Every morning is a fresh start, a new beginning, a chance to become more. Now let me bring all of these declarations together because they're not meant to be isolated thoughts, but rather interconnected principles that work together to create a powerful morning ritual and mindset. When you wake up and remind yourself that you're in control of your response to everything that happens, you're setting the foundation for personal power. When you accept responsibility for your life and happiness, you're claiming that power. When you refuse to let your past define your future, you're freeing yourself to use that power. When you commit to constant growth and improvement, you're sharpening that power. When you stay prepared and alert for opportunities, you're positioning yourself to use that power effectively. When you make education and personal development your priorities, you're expanding that power. When you focus on solutions instead of problems, you're directing that power, constructing them. When you build something meaningful with your life, you're using that power purposefully. When you combine gratitude with ambition, you're sustaining that power with positive energy. And when you see each day as an opportunity to become who you're meant to be, you're fulfilling the ultimate purpose of that power, the transformation of yourself, and through yourself, the transformation of your world. These 10 declarations are not magic formulas. They're not going to transform your life overnight. But if you make them part of your morning routine, if you say them with conviction and mean them with your heart, if you let them guide your thoughts and actions throughout the day, they will begin to reshape your reality from the inside out. You see, the quality of your life is determined by the quality of the questions you ask yourself and the statements you make to yourself. Most people ask terrible questions and make defeating statements. They ask, why does this always happen to me? And they tell themselves, I'm just not good at this. But successful people ask empowering questions and make empowering statements. They ask, how can I turn this around? And they tell themselves, I can learn to do anything I set my mind to. The morning is the most important time of day because it sets the tone for everything that follows. If you start your day with defeat, discouragement, and negativity, you're programming yourself for a day of struggle. But if you start your day with these powerful declarations, you're programming yourself for success. But here's what you must understand. Saying these things once won't do it. You have to make this a ritual, a habit, a non-negotiable part of your morning routine. Just like you brush your teeth every morning to maintain your dental health, you must feed your mind these positive declarations every morning to maintain your mental and emotional health. Repetition is the mother of skill, and it's also the mother of belief. When you repeat these declarations day after day, they begin to sink into your subconscious mind. They become part of your internal programming. They shape your automatic thoughts and responses. What starts as conscious effort becomes unconscious habit. And what starts as conscious choice becomes automatic behavior. Most people underestimate the power of their self-talk. They don't realize that they're constantly programming themselves with their internal dialogue. Every thought you think, every word you speak to yourself, every declaration you make is either moving you towards success or away from it. There's no neutral ground in the realm of self-communication. When you take control of your morning declarations, you're taking control of your mental and emotional programming. You're choosing to install success software instead of failure software. You're deciding to be your own best coach instead of your own worst critic. You're electing to start each day with empowerment instead of discouragement. But let me warn you about something. When you start making these declarations, your old programming is going to fight back. Your inner critic is going to say, this is silly, this isn't going to work. Who are you kidding? That's normal, that's expected. That's just your old programming trying to maintain its dominance over your life. Don't listen to that voice. Keep making your declarations with conviction, even if you don't feel them at first. Fake it until you make it, as they say. Act as if these declarations are true until they become true. Speak them with authority, even if you don't feel authoritative. Believe them with your mind, even if your emotions haven't caught up yet. Here's what I know after decades of studying success and working with successful people. Your emotions follow your actions, not the other way around. You don't have to feel motivated to act motivated. You don't have to feel confident to act confident. You don't have to feel positive to speak positively. When you act the way you want to feel, eventually you'll feel the way you're acting. This is why these morning declarations are so powerful. They're not just words, they're actions. They're not just thoughts, they're decisions. They're not just hopes, they're declarations of intent. When you speak them, you're not just expressing how you feel, you're deciding how you're going to be. The successful life is built on successful days, and successful days begin with successful mornings, and successful mornings begin with successful self-talk. Everything else flows from that foundation. Your thoughts create your feelings drive your actions produce your results, and your results shape your destiny. If you want to change your results, you have to change your actions. If you want to change your actions, you have to change your feelings. If you want to change your feelings, you have to change your thoughts. And if you want to change your thoughts, you have to change what you're saying to yourself, especially in those crucial morning moments when your mind is most receptive to programming. These 10 declarations I've shared with you are tools for reshaping your internal dialogue, and through that, reshaping your entire life. But like any tools, they only work if you use them. You can't just read about them or think about them or admire them from a distance. You have to pick them up and use them day after day, morning after day, until they become as natural as breathing. Remember, success is not an accident. It's not luck. It's not a matter of being in the right place at the right time, although timing can be important. Success is the result of doing certain things in a certain way consistently over time. And one of those things is programming your mind for success through empowering self-talk. The conversation you have with yourself is the most important conversation you'll ever have because it never ends. From the moment you wake up until the moment you fall asleep. And even in your dreams, you're talking to yourself. You're either building yourself up or tearing yourself down. You're either moving toward your goals or away from them. You're either creating possibilities or limitations. These 10 morning declarations are your opportunity to make that ongoing conversation a constructive one. They're your chance to start each day with empowerment instead of discouragement, with possibility instead of limitation, with hope instead of fear. But here's the thing, I can give you these tools, but I can't use them for you. I can show you the path, but I can't walk it for you. I can plant the seeds of these ideas in your mind, but I can't make them grow. That's up to you. You have a choice to make. You can continue with your current morning routine, whatever that is, and hope that somehow, some way, things will get better on their own. Or you can take responsibility for the quality of your life by taking control of the quality of your mornings. If you choose the path of intentional morning declarations, if you choose to program your mind for success rather than leaving it to chance, if you choose to be deliberate about your self-talk rather than letting it run on autopilot, I promise you this, your life will begin to change. Not overnight, not magically, but steadily, surely, powerfully. The changes might be subtle at first. You might notice that you feel a little more confident, a little more optimistic, a little more energized. You might find yourself handling challenges better, seeing opportunities more clearly, attracting better circumstances. Other people might start to notice a difference in your attitude, your presence, your energy. But over time, as you continue this practice, as these declarations become deeply embedded in your consciousness, as they begin to shape your automatic thoughts and responses, the changes will become more dramatic. You'll find yourself achieving goals you once thought were impossible. You'll find yourself becoming the kind of person you once only admired from a distance. You'll find yourself living the kind of life you once only dreamed about. This is not fantasy. This is not wishful thinking. This is the natural result of aligning your thoughts, words, and actions with success principles. When you think like successful people think, speak like successful people speak, and act like successful people act, you get the results that successful people get. It's that simple and that profound. So I challenge you, starting tomorrow morning, to begin your day with these 10 declarations. Don't just read them, speak them out loud with conviction. Don't just think them, feel them in your heart. Don't just say them once, make them a permanent part of your morning ritual. Tell yourself that you are in complete control of your response to everything that happens to you. Declare that you are responsible for your own life and happiness. Affirm that your past does not define your future. Proclaim that you are constantly growing and improving. Assert that you attract opportunities by being prepared and staying alert. Announce that your education and personal development are your highest priorities. Declare that you choose to focus on solutions, not problems. Affirm that you are building something meaningful with your life. Proclaim that you are grateful for what you have while working for what you want. And assert that today is an opportunity to become the person you're meant to be. These are not just words. They are declarations of intent. They are statements of purpose. They are commitments to excellence. They are your daily opportunity to choose success over mediocrity, growth over stagnation, possibility over limitation. The morning you start this practice is the morning you begin to take back control of your life. It's the morning you stop being a victim of circumstances and start being the architect of your destiny. It's the morning you stop hoping things will get better and start making them better. Your future self is waiting for you to make this decision. The life you're meant to live is waiting for you to claim it. The person you're capable of becoming is waiting for you to start becoming them. And it all begins with what you tell yourself when you wake up tomorrow morning. Make it count. Make it powerful. Make it the beginning of the best chapter of your life.